What became of the weird kid you went to school with? He masturbated in the bathroom, came back to class, and wiped his load all over the school bully. Bully beat him up and got expelled. The weird kid needed help of some kind and switched to special ed classes. We honor his bravery. Edit. Wow, this blew up. His name is Seth, and he graduated same year as me. He had broken ribs and permanent hearing issues after the beating. This all happened in 4th period study hall my sophomore high school year. The bully liked to bring and brag about things he stole from unlocked cars in his free time. I'm sure he got much more than expelled. The last I heard, he threw up on his first day working at an Essel's factory because he ate too many fruit pastels. He's doing just fine and has a family now. I met him years later and he said the reason he acted out was he was abused by his foster parents. Makes perfect sense now, and I'm glad he is doing well. When I was in college, I got an unexpected call from an FBI agent who wanted to ask me some questions about weird kid. I was like, holy shoot, this is it. He actually became a terrorist. FBI agent met me and asked me some basic questions. Turned out weird kid didn't do anything wrong. He was just applying for a job with the FBI and needed a background check. Didn't think to tell me that he listed me as a reference. Pretty sure he got the job. Dude named Cameron in my class. When I was in school with him, he and I always got along fine, but he had some pretty weird things going on. He would flat out stare at girls and readjusted his pants a little more conspicuously than was necessary. He dropped out of school senior year because people were making fun of him, and he has suicidal thoughts. A few weeks ago I saw him at a restaurant in town with another girl from the class behind us. He had lost a ton of weight and was wearing contacts instead of ridiculously thick glasses. Had a pretty sweet beard and a nice haircut and outfit. I almost didn't recognize him, but he said hello to me, and it clicked when I heard his kinda honky voice. We talked for a minute or so, and I asked him if he wanted to go get a beer sometime so we could catch up on old times. His mother died of a heart attack and his sister committed suicide, so he decided that he was gonna get better. He started going to the gym and got an associate's at the local college. He started working at the bank and became a loan officer and seems to be making good money doing it. He really turned his life around. One is a mere pagan that worships Odin and is a cook at a German restaurant in our hometown. He's also a Civil War reenactor on the Confederate side. Another started a Christian goth club at our high school, created a similar one at college, then died in a motorcycle accident. Turns out he had Asperger's, which, in hindsight, was really obvious. He now works at a pizza joint and is married. I was friends with him because he liked DBZ, and we used to talk about it loads, but he always used to shout out shoot in the middle of class, like when he was getting yelled at he'd laugh and say things like, "You really think you can defeat me?" I was cringy as hell, but I laughed loads and he ran around doing freaking Naruto hand signs. It was funny as shoot. Turns out he killed himself. Suicide no jutsu. He ended up rather successful, actually. Took a high-level executive job at an insurance company. Has been pretty successful in about everything but romance. Poor dude has had his heart broken twice. I still go and hang out with him every once in a while. Nice guy. Wish I had talked to him more in high school. He now plays the bagpipes in full Scottish outfit as a Belgian. That's still pretty weird, I think, and really annoying when you live in a small village like ours. Damn, I hate that sound. She hung herself before the age of 30. It makes me sad that most of her life was spent trying to fight an uphill battle against depression, her own insecurities, and then a bunch of kids who were too young and stupid to understand her or even make an effort. Apparently she had a fight with her boyfriend and went upstairs. He didn't hear anything and went up to check on her an hour later. She had stopped taking her meds a few weeks prior. I can't imagine how awful he must have felt that the last words he said to her were in anger. Started dating some 15-year-old chick and shot her parents when they opposed a 20-something-year-old weirdo dating their daughter. Luckily, the wounds were non-fatal and luckily, he's in prison. So reading this to begin with, I thought you were dating a 15-year-old chick that was going to be the weird kid. Then you shot her parents. Had to reread the comment. to realize you were talking about someone else and not yourself. The kid who went around pissing inside computers and musical instruments, from what I've seen on Facebook, has now the trashiest piece of trailer trash I've ever seen. Edit. This kid would walk the empty hallways during class time looking for empty rooms. He'd rip open CD-ROM drives and piss inside them. I don't know if he unplugged them first. On more than one occasion he snuck into the band room and pissed on instruments. During one Christmas assembly where band played Christmas songs, he stood up and yelled that he had pissed inside this one kid's trumpet. One time he snuck into the guy's locker room and pissed on every own stuff through the grates of the lockers. He got in quite a bit of trouble for that one, I remember. This kid had some sort of personality disorder and all his classes were in the rubber room, a nickname for the classroom for the low IQs and really bad troublemakers. I never had a class with him because of this, but I saw him plenty during lunch. He was a smaller kid and saw plenty of people harass the frick out of him. His true and only passion in life was to piss on things. There were 22 kids in my graduating class. There really wasn't a weird kid in the stereotypical sense. If anything, I was the weird kid because I wasn't a farmer. I had class with this girl in 5th grade who was a complete mess. Really? She was such a slob. My teacher gave her a special desk with 3 walls to contain all her trash, and she wasn't very hygienic either. Turns out, she's this super sexy dancer that lives in Denver now. Talk about a 180. He was a super awkward death metal fan who actually printed out a contract with the devil and signed it with his own blood. When he didn't know what to say he would make pig noises and would sprint out of the room. From what I can tell, by looking at his Facebook page, he is now a happy and well-adjusted woman who likes sundresses. I went to a Tony private girls' school from kindergarten through 12th grade. A classmate had, since kindergarten, was asked to leave after 6th grade because she just stopped doing her homework. She just drew all day long in her notebooks. After she left, none of my classmates kept in touch with her. Looking back, I would have described her as having a rich interior life. But about a year ago, someone with her name showed up as someone I might know on Instagram. I looked through her feed, and it turned out it was the same person. She's now a talented, successful visual artist who went to art school, got her MFA, and shows her work in galleries in New York and LA. She's so freaking cool now. I want to be friends with her, but I think too much time has gone by for me to rekindle that relationship. He went to MIT and now works at a tech company. He was always really smart, but so awkward. He once ran out of a classroom and hid behind some bushes because he got an answer wrong in class in 11th grade. There was a guy in my school, I had him in most of my classes since we were both app kids, who would hit himself in the head with his books every time he didn't get a 95+ on his work. It wasn't just a frustrated overreaction either. The dude would full on ram his head into his books whispering, "Stupid, stupid, stupid" to himself. He also stalked the shit out of his first girlfriend, going so far as to sleep under her porch with a gun after she broke up with him. He went on to be valedictorian. No idea what he's doing now. I'm late to the party, but here goes. He stabbed my mom in a McDonald's drive-thru. It was completely random, and he isn't mentally well. She's fine, but she'll have a nasty scar. He's still in a mental hospital, and will be there for a long time. Can't make this up. I was actually friends with him due to his association with some teammates I had. Anyway, in high school he was super awkward. He was the only kid that had a rolling backpack. He hung out with a crowd that would adjust their sleep schedule so that they could talk online to Japanese kids, and he would dress up in formal wear every day for school like full suit and tie. He is now a successful local politician who is well on his way to becoming a successful state and/or national politician. I'm glad for him. Edit. Why did this blow up while I was at work? Anyway, since I'm friends with this guy and am sharing this info without his permission while he is gearing up for a campaign, I'm not going to give away his name. He isn't quite at the point of running for some high office, but he has had some success locally, which is pretty remarkable considering his age and his political leanings in a historically conservative area. I will say that he is 24 years old, is from Southeast Michigan, is part of the Democratic Party, and is not Ted Cruz. 8th grade. He didn't wash his hair very often, and my classmates thought less of him for being an atheist. But I was nice to him, and we became friends. He was cool. We lost touch in high school, but reconnected thanks to Facebook when I was in college. He was working as a medic for the army, with dreams of going to medical school. He passed away after he sustained a closed head injury on a deployment to Afghanistan. I found out through Facebook. I would always try to befriend the weird kids and let them join in at recess when we would play soccer. One in particular would get teased for having the same dirty clothes day in and day out. No one would go near David. It was sad, because it always appeared he had the weight of the world on his shoulders. David was very withdrawn and awkward. I remember telling my parents about him. They would send me to school with bags of new clothes and toys to give to him. David contacted me on Facebook a couple years back. He thanked me for always standing up for him. He told me I made him feel valued, and he appreciated our compassion. I came to find out that his mom was an alcoholic and his father was not in the picture. David was trying to raise his little sisters, and would do without. Today, he is a CEO in a software company and happily married with children. I was the weird kid in elementary and much of high school. Because of where I lived, I never saw anyone outside of the school and played video games all day every day. By the time I was halfway through high school I had friends, sure, but my social skills were so underdeveloped. I had erratic behavior that pushed people away. This behavior haunted me until I was in the very early 20s. From what I can see on Facebook, she's still mourning over a cat that she lost 5 years ago. Edit. She was the weird kid because she used to tell everybody that she killed somebody with a lead pencil when she was 8 years old, and she would regularly sniff people. So, weird as in really smart and awkward weird, or everyone just feels uncomfortable and gets weird vibes around him weird. If it's the smart version, he is a senior scientist for NASA. If it's weird vibes guy, last I heard, is he became a rabid white supremacist and dropped off the face of the earth. What's funny is, when I was in high school we had a kid who was pure German, super blonde hair, blue eyes, and was raised by a white supremacist and was really white supremacist himself. I even went to his house one time and they had local Nazi organization materials laying around. When he graduated, he joined the army and was stationed in Germany, where he then made a complete change and went the complete opposite direction, dated a black girl, etc. I had a classmate nicknamed Bucket. He got this name cause he was running around with a bucket on his head a few times. Once, he was getting mugged on the street. Few guys surrounded him with a knife, demanding to hand over his phone. He started laughing, took out his phone and smashed it on the ground, continued laughing like a maniac. Muggers baffled by what they saw, they just walked away. Edit. I totally missed the point of this thread. I just read weird kid from school and shared this story. He is actually doing pretty good, studying physics at our country's best science university, though he is still really weird. There was this one kid who was quite weird. I think he had autism / was really intelligent, because after the sophomore year of high school he transferred to one of those smart kid schools. But my favorite story of this kid was one day during lunch. We were just chilling outside the activities office, which was a big hangout spot for my kind of people. He and I are chatting, and he pulls out this small screwdriver and starts flipping it in his hand. Whatever the kid was weird, I knew he wouldn't do anything malicious with it. It was just a toy. Anyway, the vice dean walks by, sees it, and confiscates it from him. He apologizes and the dean leaves. He then pulls out another screwdriver and starts flipping it. Edit. Another story from this guy was he told me the greatest way to kill yourself would be to go to the top of a very tall building, tie a noose around your neck with a length of rope just right to achieve the result, apoxy your hands to your head and jump. If the rope is the right length, it will rip your head off, and when your body lands it will look like you pulled off your head. Started his own small town high-speed internet in the days of dial-up, repaid the bank loan in 2 months, and expanded to being the main DSL provider for 3 counties when only expensive satellite internet was available from the big companies. One of the weird kids turned out to be a reasonably successful Dota/HS streamer. Editorino. He joined school midterm, and since day one some bullies started stealing his stuff, beating him and all that crap. He left school like a week after he joined. People said he left because he brought his hamster to school, and bully numero uno threw it off the window. It was the last time I saw the bully as well. I think he got expelled. I don't wanna say who it is. I think he tried hard to forget all that shoot and I don't wanna remind him of it. Editorino Reloaded. Besides streaming, it seems he graduated in psychology and has a GF now, so I'm glad things got better. He posts 5 to 10 Facebook statuses a day complaining about how he'll never have a girlfriend/wife and how he hates douchebags who have hot girlfriends, but then fantasizes about becoming a douchebag. I take screenshots every day. He is still one of my best friends and majoring at mechanical engineering at the University of Arkansas. Turns out he wasn't just weird, he was just an engineer. I was new to my high school, and for some reason throughout my entire life I always would talk to those weird kids because they didn't have any friends. Well, I ended up making really good friends with the one really weird kid in my freshman year of high school, and he ended up asking me out. I was 14 and was like, why not? We have a ton in common. Well, after 3 days I ended up realizing I wasn't ready for a relationship and ended it. After I had dated him, talking on the phone and hugging once, no one else during my high school life wanted to date me because I had tarnished myself with the weird kid, and then I became the weird kid. Anyways, he ended up graduating at 15 after intense bullying, went to college, graduated from college at MIT at 18, now is a professor at a university, and has written about 600-page textbooks on physics. I'm so happy that he found what he loves and is amazingly brilliant.